Okay, this may be another short video. I don't know. At this point, it's in the universe's hands, not mine. And whatever with all this smoke and stuff, I would imagine it's full of no telling what all toxins and stuff. It's giving me a fucking horrible headache. I cannot believe how bad my head hurts. And it just came on. Fuck. I shut the door now, and Stella, of course, is harassing me and wants to go out and walk. Or my whole jaw is hurting. The metal in my mouth, my back of my jaw, where my cavity, my metal cavities are, is aching. So, I don't know. I know there's shit in all of this. And it is still so crazy when I talk to just regular people, you know, that are in my life and stuff. It's just the conversations are just so different. There's so many people who believe all this fires, that's just natural. This is climate change. This has been going on for a long time. Like, you should really start understanding what climate change is all about. It's just like, oh, man. But that's what I was talking about, how this awakening is just so multi-level. It's like, I don't know, because there's a part that everybody has to wake up to. And I don't know, you know, it's like, because it's not just the government, it's not just the it's like this, it's not just your spiritual side, it's this overall understanding of your mind is being controlled on purpose. Like, and this place is like, it's so multi-level, because we're here because we want to learn and stuff and grow, but the game that we're in is so fucking toxic. It's so dystopian. It's so 1984. It's like, what in the holy hell, people? It's like, you just go about, I don't know. It gives me a headache just thinking about it. So I mean, I don't know. That was one thing where I started seeing the shift in spiritual, for sure, when I was seeing so many people that were saying things that were going against what was real. It's like, you're talking about what the news is saying. You're not talking about what's really going on. So what are you connected to? And you know, there's just so much that I have been witnessing through my awakening and my perspective and my perception. And one thing that I was just talking to one of my daughters, and I had this like epiphany where it was like, we were talking about something, and I just all of a sudden could see, it's like people are always assuming the dark. Like, there's two sides to a coin. Everything is two sides to everything. There's two sides to everything. And so in these two available sides to perceive, to how you look at life, how you assume people are treating you, and how you assume people are, and that most people go to the dark side. Most people assume somebody is doing something for ulterior motives and hateful and stuff. Like, most people are in that kind of groove, so that puts up barriers and more manipulation and stuff. Like, everybody's on guard. Everybody thinks everybody else is out to get them. And it's like this energy in the world. And just seeing how much, like, people all kind of go towards this same perspective, the same way of looking at things. And that's where I realized my role is, because I'm always see a different perspective. I'm always looking at the other side, like the light. If there's two sides to the coin, I'm looking at the one that is lit up to me. And so it's more on the idea that people are their best. They're being the best that they can be. And it's weird because even when you can be saying things, people can be perceiving so much in the dark that they can turn and twist anything that you say into what fits for them. And just start noticing those things, of how people perceive, what they assume, how they look at things and stuff. And that there is, it's funny because that just hung me up because we just had a conversation. It was something about assumption. And that's what ended our conversation, was our different views of assumption. What is assumption? Uh, because to her, for me to assume that the people hanging the flag outside across the street, now that they are more, have left Joe in the dark and are more about freedom, which I don't know who they support, I mean, they may, most of the people who are in that kind of government realm, they bounce back and forth between two poles. So, if one leaves one party, usually they go to the next. So I would say if they are, but there's a lot of people who are seeing through the whole government thing and pulling free from the government and just want to expose the fact that they want freedom. And that's what the flag represents. And I said, that's what the flag represents, is freedom in my knowledge. But you can't assume it is that to everybody. I was like, what do you think it is? And then she said what she thought it was. And she said, but you can't think that that is what it is to everybody else of all different colors and stuff like that. It is like, I'm not going to assume a whole group of people look at it in one certain way. Like, I'm not going to assume. So it's just different ways of seeing things. Like, she thinks that that's too much for me to assume somebody is putting a flag out because now they are about freedom, and that I think it's too much to assume that most people don't think that the flag represents freedom, that there's a whole group of people who think it represents something else, and I'm not going to generalize like that. So we all have different ways of seeing things, we all have different ways of looking at things. She has good points, and I'm sure I have good points. And that's what is important for us to all share our points. And then when there's, I'm not going to argue, she's not going to argue, we have different ways of looking at things, just end the conversation. That's where we've gotten to in the thing. Otherwise, we'll go into a big fight, and then we won't talk to each other for weeks. Her and I are always two poles. We're always, we are like the light and the dark, going into balance all the time. And that's why I say, there's a lot of things with her in mine's relationship where I feel like it's a more an advanced game or something. It's more advanced, this balance, this light and dark, because our perspectives are so polar. But I mean, she always has good points, whether she acknowledges any of mine. That's, but she has a lot of good points. Like, that's why I can totally, I've talked about this before, about how I see how the light and dark work together. It's just of how you look at things. It's all in how you look at things. And, but that's where I see, how so many people, there's so much darkness. And so people who have been of the dark, who have been of that perspective or whatever, when there's so much light flooding in, it is going to be, dismantling, I'm sure. When I keep shining the light on a different thing, it seems like I'm trying to be confrontational or something. I'm showing another side. But see, the dark perspective has been the more accepted perspective. Like, throughout my life, I've always been called crazy, irrational, strange. And so now we're going into the time of the light, where I have so many people come in and say, man, I hadn't even thought about that. I appreciate your perspective. You gave me something new to think about. Like, so it is, and mine is, it's like looking at the lighter side. It's looking at You know, maybe they had good intentions. Maybe they didn't mean it in a bad way. Maybe they're damaged, you know, like where I talk about with so many people. They think like their parents are these evil monsters and not realizing they're damaged little children that are hurt. They're in pain. And you're adding to their pain because now they feel like they failed you too. And you don't realize how important you are to your parent. And again, I'm talking about more relationships that are not to the extreme level of some. You know, there's definitely some that are on another level. You know, everybody's got to make their own determinations about their own relationships. But you can heal so many relationships that you think are damaged or unbearable. You can make them bearable. You can make them interesting. You can make them enjoyable. You can make them into something that you want. It don't have to all be. That's what I keep talking about. And it's just so funny too, is because this is, I always, when I'll be talking to my daughter, I'll be trying to give her a compliment. And she's always super defensive. And so I'm like, so I'm trying to say something and she's real defensive, like she's just blah, blah, blah. And, you know, so it can take a long time to deliver something where then she'll be like, oh, okay. But it is that darkness pushing back on the light is a perspective. It's a way of looking at things. And, you know, it has to do with all of these roles that we play. And so it's, you know, it's important. We have to have the dark and the light. You know, like I went through my life and there was no place for me. And so now, you know, it is where people are more interested in looking at like other sides and seeing things that they hadn't seen before. And, you know, I think it is important, you know, to not think everybody is your enemy and everybody's out to get you. And, you know, life's so hard, it's unbearable. And, you know, this is what everything in this world is happening for, because our life had reached such a space of darkness. The darkness had overtaken people. Everybody has the light and dark in them, but there was so much darkness. It just overtook their perspective, how they looked at things. And so now the light coming in and like, you know, I just think that there's a lot of us that are, you know, we've come in, like I said, it's some of this stuff isn't stuff like I have to try and figure out or learn. It's been like programmed into me since I was small. Like, I mean, really, when you think about it, like I had these beings talking to me my whole fucking life, telling me things. So, you know, I've been directed into a certain role. And so, you know, I can't say, you know, if I hadn't had so much influence that I wouldn't have as much dark as everybody else. So I don't ever want it to seem like I'm trying to say I'm better than somebody because I had more light. It was a difficult journey. It was a hard journey. You have to thicken your skin. There's a lot of people I see around me who fall apart for such little things. It was difficult. It was hard to, you know, it was definitely standing in a storm a lot of life, you know, to stay true to my inner self and not give in to the world around me to please others, to be accepted. And so anyways, but now I see, you know, it's like we're the bringers of the light. We're the bringers of this other perspective that is going to naturally change. It's naturally people want to just start seeing these other sides because it triggers them inside of them to start seeing the light, to see things different, to start looking at things different, to change your perspective. You are empowered to do that. You know, it's just not the dark. They've kept us in the dark. And now we're coming into the light. But that's what the light bringers are all about. That is what the wounded healer, the what was the other one I had said? The Hinoki empath, the Hioki empath. the wounded healer, the light bringer, the ones that they spoke of, the ones that everybody who wakes up decides that they're chosen because they woke up. Is like some of those people have not even all the way woke up. There's so much. They just, like I said, I've seen these people with huge accounts, spiritual people who are like, oh, I've been trying to stay focused on the love and the light, but like everything keeps going wrong. What am I supposed to do? You know, and it's like, because you can't be fake about it. You have to be real. It's all like, this is real. Like your growth isn't a pretend. It isn't like, if I pretend to be a certain way, then I'll just be that. If I pretend to be love and light, then I will become love and light. If I ignore the things I don't want to happen, then they won't happen. Well, okay. Well, okay. We'll see how that works out for you. I have some of these conversations I have. I was like, okay, let's see. So, anyways, now it is like I see what it means to be a light bringer. And, you know, there's going to be some of you guys. That's maybe why you've gravitated and found me, the people who are authentically understand me, who get where I'm coming from. You know, maybe you are the same. Maybe you've gone through, you know, a lot of pushback through your whole life, a lot of making fun of you and thinking that you're a stupid idiot, crazy, all these different things. And you just still have to stand strong in who and what you know you are. And, you know, luckily I've got all these other people around me who are really, I have a big squad. So it isn't, even if the whole world it goes up against me, I have a whole group that is unseen by many. I think unseen by most, but that they are giving me a different input. So that has given me the strength, you know. But to me, everybody has that access. Everybody has that group there for you. And that, to me, is what the light bringer is about, is to remind people about the light, to remind people to look at things differently, to remind people you have a team around you, that life isn't as bad and dark. People aren't as mean and evil. This world is a very exciting place. It has just been so contained and controlled for so long. Your mind has been under a microscope. It's been being analyzed. And but you know, it is also kind of like it's being analyzed by yourself, your higher self, because your higher self's involved. You're not a prisoner here. You weren't forced here. You are being observed by a lot of different beings and stuff, but you are being observed by yourself too. You are, it's kind of like a golf game, and then all the players, and then you have all of these people who are observing. But it is like being not just a golf enthusiast, a golf professional. Like, that's what we are, the players. That's, you know, it's like we know we've got people watching us. You know, but it depends on your level of how you're playing the game. It depends on what level you're at. You know, there's a lot of different levels. There's a lot of different levels of awakening and experiencing reality, experiencing life. And so it depends on what level you're at. And so, but if you're at that level of understanding, then it is like you are, you know, like a golf champion here playing your best game, and you are being watched by the whole world. And so your higher self, like, it's a serious business. What you're doing here is, you know, like it's a real game of learning and growing and stuff. But then it's also, you have to have the perspective, it's still a game. You know, you got to keep that in mind too. It's always a game. How serious are you going to take a game? But it's a game of skill. It's a game of advancement. And so it is you know, like, I've got so many different aspects of different kinds of players, different states of people of being in the games, you know, like all these different people at all different levels. So everybody's playing a different game at different levels. Everybody is having their own experience. And I don't know through, like, I know for the age of Aquarius, it's going to be about spirituality. It's going to be a lot more where people are going to have integrity again. They're going to think about, just because I can do that, should I do that? People are going to be a lot more observant of how they're going to feel more connected. They're going to feel more connected to everybody and everything, because that is what's going on here through all of this turmoil and trauma, which is so crazy too. I was just talking to my daughter how weird it is. Like, it feels like it's the end of the world out here in all of Washington. So in hers, in Spokane, the air quality is 500. Like I said, I told last a couple of months or a couple of weeks, whenever when the Ohio shit was going down, and they kept talking about air quality, and they were saying, "Oh my God, it's 200, it's 270, and all that stuff." I was like, "Look, we have it up like 500 over here on the West Coast," and so over in Spokane, it's 500. And here by me, it says it's 124. It's pretty smoky. My other daughter, she says it's like 200 where they are. And so all of Washington State is all, smoke air quality. But it's just so weird is how, like, it covers the sun. It makes this weird color outside, which has been a weird color for a while anyways. But it's just eerie. It's like the day that Earth stood still, eerie out. And then whatever they're putting is giving me such a horrible headache. It's just getting worse and worse. Ugh, it's horrible. It's even making my eyes hurt. I'm sure it's some fucking, like, we're just being gassed all the motherfucking time. It's just like, whatever. Just fucking hurry up and get me the fuck out of here then. Get out of this place. If that's what's supposed to be up, come on. Because I don't fear that. I know you walk out of one reality into another. This isn't real. But anyways, the level I'm playing is very different level than a lot of people. A lot of people perceive me in an odd way. They don't understand me. They don't understand what I'm saying. And so they will assume or think that they do, but you don't. There's still a limitation of words. Like, I've been talking about this for a long time, about how it's very hard to get people to really understand what you're trying to get them to what you're trying to say. And so anyways, though, if there's probably, a lot of people who are awake, like a certain level of people, like, I don't know if they're going to be more pursuant of a spiritual, like, real lifestyle. And then there's going to be like a general population that's just going to be not so much, but there's going to be, healing centers where people are super spiritual, but people, everybody won't live like that. Some people would just go there, but so there's going to be people who are super, super spiritual, super connected, and who are trying to understand all of this stuff and all of these connections and stuff. So they're really advancing spiritually in big ways, because like, I don't know, I'm seeing different things because the communication thing, but a lot of people are doing those things, figuring out how to move the energy when it comes out of their fingers. And so people are learning about that. Just a lot of stuff people are learning about. So there's going to be a lot of people who are advancing in a lot of big ways, but then there are so many people who are just still, in a daily life, who are, they're questioning things, they're looking at things, they're seeing things, but there's still an overshadow of acceptance, a sleepiness of like, oh, I'll wake up in a minute, I'm going to stay here and sleep a little bit longer. So they're still kind of in that kind of way of, I don't really want to wrap my head around that. And, you push them too hard and it's like, okay, you're melting my mind. And so is that everybody's got to come into their realizations as they come. And everybody's going to be at a whole different level. I mean, some people are here for building communities and stuff, but there is a lot of people here who are for, spiritual, like to really advance their souls, to really work on themselves and their consciousness and their abilities and what they're made of. And, so I don't know all of the different things, you know, I don't know, because I can see a lot of going out and traveling a lot, and maybe you being more advanced in your skills. Like in that one movie, what movie was that? Is it called Interstellar or something? But a movie, it's like these two cops that go, but everything's in the future, so they have to go through different dimensions. They have to put on these glasses, but there's a place like that the people can go. It's like a mall or something, and so you can put on your glasses so that you can see everything, but there's still different levels in the vibration. And so like the people who go to the mall and have to put on the glasses, and then the people who are able to see all the things without the glasses because of your advancing your own soul. And so if you get what I'm saying, if that makes sense to you. So there's like it's like all different levels. And I don't think that the whole world is going to become like, it would be like if the whole world, if we all became the same thing, we all became priests, we all became, so I kind of feel like I'm talking to the people who are more about the spirituality side of themselves, the real growth part, the part of you that is expansion, that is trying to understand itself and discover itself and take control of itself. Oh yeah, because one of the things that I was talking about with my daughter was when she had first, was going out into the world, splitting up with her husband. So, and she was very agoraphobic, and I guess she was diagnosed with that. But there was times I remember she would call me crying. She was falling apart, and really struggling. And I would just, I don't know. I can see how it would be hard if you were my child, but I'm just kind of like, you just got to do it. You just got to go and do it. You just go and do it. And once you do it, you'll see you can do it. You just got to do it. That's how I am. And so we argued and stuff through that, but she pushed herself and pushed herself and pushed herself out through it. And she doesn't have anything like that now. She's out in the world always doing stuff. So we were talking about, as I said, there's so many people who get diagnoses and they just submit to it. They surrender. Oh, that's who I am. That's what I am. And she was talking about, that's why I don't like support groups, because you get so many people and that's all they want to do is just talk about it, just pour them. And because when you have an attitude that you're not going to be anchored down by a diagnosis or anything that happens in life, any obstacle, when you are like, got to get up, dust off, and keep on going, that a lot of people, it's like a part of the population doesn't want to do that. There's a part of the population who wants to just sit back and submit and just play the victim and doesn't want to, empower themselves. And I don't know, what all that means and stuff. I don't know where it's going to take everybody. I know that this is an opportunity for people, like is a part of this whole government over these overlords overstepping all the time, is to push you to feel that somebody's invading your space. To stand up for yourself, to say, hey, you've gone too far. But people just keep backing up further and backing up further, and they're in a fucking corner and they're still kind of comfortable. And so you see why there has to be such an explosive change, why there has to be something so dramatic. When you see this footage of Baja, man, it's crazy. And the Southern California, like there's some people who are over there who are, pretty nervous because they know what's to come. And there's other people over there who are completely oblivious. Completely oblivious. And I just can't even get over how many people just think, well, this is what happens every year. It's like, what are you... I've had a lot of summers through my life, like a lot of summers, and this is a new thing. This is not, this is a new thing. This is technology. This is, they're doing this on purpose, just like I said. They come in with some smoke. That's really easy way to bring in some gases, bring in some toxins, get everybody sick. Bring them to the doctors. I mean, some places just wipe out a whole motherfucking town. But everybody's so busy. A town, what, a small town? Who cares? That's why they've always gone in and attacked the small towns. When I listen to that singer, I just love him now. I can just feel his soul, when you listen to him and you see him and then he smiles. It's like you just feel his soul. It's like, how can you not just love him? And, but it just made me think about how much we've always judged people like that. Like, I was a city folk. And so I've heard a lot of conversations. I've heard a lot of people looking down on people. A lot of these, what are they called? I've got a lot of funny words coming into my mind. The academics. These academics, you think they're so above other people. And, but it's like the milk and the bones or whatever, is our foundation. And what I've said about, a lot of these are families that came escaping tyranny and coming even before that these places were discovered. And so there was people who were here, working and, creating little towns and stuff. They had to come, when they came in, they had to control us. They brought, they brought some criminals, they brought some, hoity-toity people. They came in, with even in that show Outlander, it showed, like, how the Crown, even when they came in, how they were just going and invading little villages and shit where people were just farming and shit. Like, this has always been them taking over. But like these mountain people, these people who people would look down on, and and he's from West Virginia, and it's funny how people think like West Virginia is the South, because how he talks or something. But he's a mountain person. These old generational mountain people. It kind of, I think, is like the South, the Southern people. They've just kind of slowed down that mountain talk, but is the mountain people, that is who has been under attack for so motherfucking long. When he says like the miners, we had like they've not cared about the people who were here. Like there was so much, like there's just so much about our history and the deception and the destruction and the taking of lifestyles and lands and the destruction and stuff. And so I just think, this judgment towards these people who were always under attack. There's certain places that have always been under attack. But they, move these people into the cities, and then even some people can leave those places and look back and be like, well, things have to change there. And so they've been able to go in and just destroy communities, destroy towns, poison them, all sorts of stuff. And we've all sat back and just been like, well, what did you learn today at school? What were you taught today? It's like, we wanted to get over there and just get up each other's asses. We wanted to just be all, and, but a lot of that is just all based on insecurity. It really is. It really is. Like, we are all children pretending to be adults. And so what do you believe, makes a good adult? As a child, what did you think made a good adult? There's so many like who think, well, I go to work, I never miss a day, I make this much, I bought this house, I have this, I have that, and but it is how much of that value, how much of that fake part, how much of the part where you're playing that role, where you are doing these things because then you get so caught up in that role play and it consumes you. It takes over your life. To pretty soon, all you're doing is having to play that part, to be that grown up that goes to work. And now that grown up has to get married, has to make payments, has to have babies, has to have sickness, has to have people dying, has to have all of this stuff. And they were all just playing a role. And the role got too real. And so it's where do you stop in your life and start considering what you're doing and who you're doing it for, why you're doing what you're doing, and start really considering what it is that you want to do. How do you want to spend your time? It's not childish to not want to go to work. That's not childish. That's fucking normal. There's plenty of places all over the world where people don't get up and just go to work. You can get up and just go out and fish and eat your food. You can get up and go find your place, a little place in land, and build yourself a little fucking shack. You can build yourself a big place. You can stake a claim on any land. There is a homesteading rights. You can claim land. You go out and work the land. Go out and build yourself a little house. Go out and put yourself a garden in and stake a claim. And that's all just bullshit. Anyways, that's just government bullshit papers. And that is just participating in their games. So once you file as saying, well, you have a right over the land, to me, it's like I wouldn't file shit. I just go out and build my place, start building my garden, and anybody came up and just say, hey, this is my land. This is my land. And if somebody wants a treaty, or a deed or something, that's all going to go away. It's not going to be the same. Is the whole thing about them trying to sell us land and all these deeds and taxes and shit, it was all bullshit. I mean, they're stealing land, ancient land, people's lands that has been their land, their birthright from all the way back. And it's happened over and over. It's happened in Australia. It's happened everywhere. They push back the indigenous people, and then they take over the lands, and then they put in, the people who they want to take over the land and keep the people back. And then in the group of people that are put out there is like a half and half. There's some that are, mindless and mean and hateful. And then there's other ones that are compassionate and caring. And so there's always that turmoil, that chaotic energy of two opposing forces. There's always two different attitudes, but it's when we all come together, and it was like we need to all come together. Like everything is being pushed on us to come together and to see the plight of so many, to see the plight of the mountain people, the poor people, the people who didn't want to come in. Like, I just can't even tell you how much I respect that guy. He did not take that big ass contract. He, the value in freedom is way beyond anything else. Not having somebody controlling you and telling you what to do and when you need to do it and how you need to say it and all that stuff. To be able to just go out there and just express yourself exactly the way you want to express yourself. And that is priceless. And so, and that has more value than somebody pushing you to do another hit. Hurry, make another hit. We got to make money off of you. It's like, oh, put a little pressure on. Everything's got to be more natural and organic. The beauty, the music, the creativity comes out in a natural, organic way, not a controlled corporate way. And as soon as you don't perform, they discard you. You're not good enough. And it's part of their system. It's funny because I can see it in the visual thing. It is kind of very Willy Wonka-ish, putting you through the system and then spitting you out at the end. But, you got to, at some point, go, man, you guys are chewing me up. I'm jumping out. I'm off. I'm out of here. On all of the different things. Like, this is in every different aspect of jobs and every bit of corporate life. Everybody is having to face these things. How far can you be pushed? How much abuse will you take? Is that how you feel, or are you just saying the words of somebody else? And I mean, we literally have people out here who are, murdering on orders. Like, when you have got flames and people begging to get out, and you're telling them that they can't come out, that there's orders. Yeah, there's robots. There's robots out there in the world. There's robotic people. There's mind-controlled robots. And in New York, they've got the robot dogs out. In some places, they've got robot food delivery that are being assaulted. Like, are you joking? Like, you really think that would work? Like, a robot is going to deliver the food, and you don't think that somebody's going to come assault the robot and steal the food? Especially in a starving world. That is one thing, too, that I thought was really powerful in his song, is how many of these, obese people in the system are sitting around complaining about things. And what part are you playing? Are you playing, what part are you playing? If there's starvation and there's limitation and there's nothing out there and you are taking money, but you don't need it. And most times as society, when somebody was obese, they did it to show they didn't need anything. But I don't need anything. I got everything I need. Look at me. I'm a porker. You're skinny. You don't have enough food. You can't take care of yourself. It was a different kind of attitude. Here, in this state of gluttony, it's like, just give me more, 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 more. I just got to get bigger, bigger, bigger. Put in bigger implants. Get bigger, 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 bigger. Everything's bigger, bigger house. Who's going to clean the house? Well, how much time do you want to spend cleaning your house? How big a house do you need? So it's like bigger, bigger, bigger. Everybody wants bigger, but, what do you want to do with your time? Why do you need such a big-ass place? Like, I fucking could live in a goddamn treehouse. I swear to God, I would have never thought, I went down smaller. Like, it was baby steps going down, like, from the step downs on my houses. But, to go into this little 650 square foot house, it's like, really, like, even in this much space, is still as most of my time is right here. Do we really need much more? Like we start thinking, or most of it is I like the outdoor space. But then right now it's just eerie and creepy, and we're being gassed and poisoned and smoked out and shit. So then it makes it more hard. But I like outdoor space. I like to be able to, but I do like a creative space, like that would be the thing that I would like to be bigger. Like, I would really, when I envision my little ranch that I'm gonna have, is there's a barn, a barn, like a big art shop barn kind of place, where I can have all of my different things out, the things I like to make and create and stuff. So all different things can be out there. Yeah, it'd be really cool. Like a thing I can see. It's always showing me these representation things. There's always visuals and shit they're showing me and stuff. But anyways, it's like we don't need that much space. I mean, especially, there's a lot of people who just need a goddamn couch and a bed and a toilet. That's all they need, and a door for DoorDash. So, but, they probably have a big-ass house. They probably have a lot of square footage. And then they probably whine and complain because somebody's got to clean it. It's like, well, I have this small space, and I still don't spend a bunch of time cleaning it. And that's another thing. It's like, where did we all of a sudden all come up like that? We can't have any dirt around us. We can't have any mess around us. We can't have, everything's got to smell good and be perfect and be clean. Like, it's like kind of sterile and stale. Like, that's what I sound like. I could live out in a treehouse. Well, it depends on the place. Like, I'm totally honest, because I wouldn't want to be in a treehouse if I had big old reptiles and shit climbing all over me. Like, I would like an enclosed space for sure. But I swear to God, I could live in a camper as long as it had a good mattress. I could live in a camper, or I could live in I could literally live in a tent. I know I could live in a cave. But just think back of like how people lived before. And then how, you know, in order to live the way that we live, we've had to accept and dedicate our life to certain lifestyles and behaviors and ways of being that are not, you know, conducive to happiness in existence. It's more about strain and stress and always having to rush to the next thing. You're going to be late if you don't hurry, and you better get that sale or you're going to run out. You know, it's all this general attitude that, you know, we've accepted. That is like what I'm saying is like this dark side of life, this certain way of looking at things. I can't even believe how many people cannot see that there's an alternative. Like, you can fucking point it out and they're just like, they can't see it. It's just so far out there. Like, no way. It's like the universe is going to show you. That's what the universe is doing. It's going to show you. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I've said this the whole time. As things are ripped out of people's hands, it's going to hurt. You know, you're going to feel the pain because you are, you know, dependent. And your soul doesn't need to be dependent. The soul needs to be independent. And so this dependency is going to be a big Band-Aid ripoff. You know, everything that you are dependent on is going to be torn away so that you can realize, oh, I didn't need that. I didn't need that. Wow, I can find a happiness and I didn't even need that. I thought I needed that. I thought I needed that. Well, I don't need that, or I don't need that. You know, there's, you know, like when it comes down to it, I mean, couldn't you just live in a cave, you know, and just go out and gather your food every day, go out and socialize with the other cave dwellers, you know, come up with ideas of celebration, of community? Like, why do we need something more? Like, there's literally countries and towns and villages that live so different than we do in America. And I just started this movie yesterday. I don't think I'm going to watch it. It seems like it's maybe a little... But how it started was in a bar in like Ireland, and all these old men talking about, you know, having to go to work, and, you know, it's a bunch of bullshit. Like, why do anybody go to work? It's stupid. And then you got to go to work, and you got to take a knee, and you got all this shit. And this was like, because in the conversation where they're having this whole talk about it, I even shared it on a video, is when they are having that talk about it, that one of the guy goes, well, yeah, I know all that's true, but I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go to America, and I'm leaving, and we're going to America. That was, they were selling the American dream. They thought that it wouldn't be like that here. It's fucking worse than that here. It is, not only do people go and take a knee, but they start competing over it. There's such a competitive nature here over who's got the bigger house, who's got more cars, who's got, you know, who's got more shoes. How much money do you spend? How much do you spend on ice cream? How big is your refrigerator? It's like, fuck. Does that matter? Does any of that matter? Like, if I get a bigger refrigerator, am I going to be happier? If I have more food in my fridge, am I going to be happier? Right now, I don't see how anybody could. Food tastes so fucking weird. It's like you totally can tell you're eating goddamn wax or something. Like, it's fucking weird. It trips me out. But, oh, and the ants, motherfuckers. It just came right ass fucking back. My whole fucking counter. As soon as I got it from recording a minute ago, well, a while ago, it, whole motherfucking counter. I went in to make another cup of tea. Those motherfuckers, I had to put all the honey up in the microwave. They are so crazy for honey. The first time when I found them all invading my fucking kitchen, they were in my honey. Ugh, it was disgusting. I didn't know I had to screw the lid on so tight. Now I know I have to hide the honey. But I was knocking them into my little jar of sugar baking soda. I was trying to scramble to get out. I put so many down the sink. It's like, oh my God, ants are the worst, because even if you kill them, they still send out, they just like sniff each other out. Even the ones down the drain, like who knows what the fuck. They'll go down there, drag out the dead bodies. Like it's mental. The whole thing, hopefully they washed a million miles away, but they go build up their own if they can survive that tyranny that I just laid on them. But they're gonna, and they'll come, they go out, they look for food. As soon as one of them goes back and says, yeah, there's food, let's all go. It's like they all fucking go. There's a million, and you kill one, they all fucking keep coming to get them. If you try and get rid of the first scout, they just send out another scout and send out another scout. It's like they are so goddamn smart, and but they're a pain in the ass. It's like, fuck. I was thinking, maybe if I go dump some sugar or something out, put a little honey pot outside somewhere, maybe I could draw them out from the ground out there so that they wouldn't be coming up through the kitchen. Like, what the fuck? Where are you coming from? In the bathroom, my bathroom is about to fall straight ass through the ground, I swear to God. And I keep hearing little critters in there scratch around on the floor, so I go in there and start stomping. You better not come in here. The little thing that they could get through is small, but a mouse could get through there. And I have seen like a little beetle in the bathroom. And it's like, oh man, that beetle's coming in. Like, what else coming in from under the house? I've got to get that fixed, but I've got to have the goddamn collapse. The economy's got to collapse. It just frustrates the fuck out of me how the people don't realize you're the ones holding it up. Like, it has collapsed, but you guys keep holding it up. You keep doing it. You keep going to work to get the checks and shit. If everybody would say, fuck it, I've got what I need right now. I'm not going to work. I'm not buying shit. I'm not doing a goddamn thing. Just stop. Everybody just stopped. It would all end. It would all end. And then we would go into the collapse, the gold standard and stuff. My daughter was like, yeah, well, if this is all fake money, because I've just been ranting about this to them all, but if this is all fake money, then what is real money? And I said, well, the BRICS nation has gone on the gold standard. You have, like what I've been saying, you have to actually have something. You can't just have piece of paper. You got to actually have a real thing. And that is why there's going to be so much bartering and trading and shit. You're going to find out you don't have to use any kind of money thing. You can trade time for energy. You can trade things, all sorts of stuff. People will figure out, talk to somebody and, a guy next door. Well, from Brownies, he'll give me something, somebody needs to work on their car. Well, here, what can I give you? There's going to be so much more of that, to keep thinking that you have to go to work to get a check so you can give somebody this and that. And no. The checks is like we bought into their what is that? Because I keep seeing all of these like Bitcoins and shit. How it was like to buy into the Bitcoin is like it's its own thing. That's what this fiat currency is. It's its own thing, and so it is. We bought into it, so we give it value. It was forced on us. It's not like we bought into it. It was forced on us. But when you start understanding. So the BRICS nation is all about gold. That's why we can't go into any of those countries and use the dollar. Like, I don't know about, all the different places with euros and all the different, currencies that are out there. But in the BRICS nations, they've already gone on to Gesera. They've already gone on the gold standard. That's what we're headed to. That's what we all, in all of our countries, we need them to get rid of this fucking bullshit currency that they keep us trapped on. But the people keep doing it because they think that's the only way. It's because the truth is hidden, but it's right out there. Like, as soon as this motherfucking shit collapses, that is all of this driven up inflation, all of the houses they keep driving up, all of the shit that they keep doing, when that collapses, that is going to change everything. That's when people will be able to get land for free. They'll be able to get houses for cheap. You know, it's going to change everything on the technology and shit. But you can't get the people to realize because they all live in fear. They don't want to, you know, I can't do that. Well, what if they don't do it? What if I'm the only one? It's like, well, you know, you got to decide, what do you stand for? You know, stopped paying those credit cards 3 years ago. I stopped paying taxes 2 years ago. I stopped paying my house 5 months ago. I'm willing to lose whatever it is to stand up for what's right. Each person has to make that decision for themselves. Each person has to know what they stand for. In most cases, people are not picking what they stand for. They're just going to let the storm come in and take everything away from them. So the universe will accommodate that. The hand of God will come in and take everything away from them so that they can see for themselves what they need and what they don't need. And so it is a big change. It's a big, but once people lose the things and they go through the pain, then it is, they realize, like, fuck, that was a bunch of shit I didn't need. This is a bunch of having to watch out over this and watch out over that. And, you know, why do I even want to spend my energy doing that? It's like, this is a big transference of energy and how it's spent and how each individual determines how they want to spend their own. And so, and there are so many people who just want to hold so much influence over other people. They just want to get them to only think the way they think. There is going to be a big change in society. And there's going to be a big changeover in, you know, people. I don't know if when the energy changes, it's going to make people feel so bad. Like they're going to feel it on a deeper level every time they try and get somebody to be influenced. And maybe right now, as people try and influence it blows up in their faces or something. But there's going to be something that keeps making every bad behavior, every toxic behavior, every thing that people do that is like of this negativity, as it's purging out, it's going to just go wrong. It's going to just make it be where it's just so obvious. That's why all these things just keep blowing up in society. Like all these people having this bad situation happen here, bad situation happen there. It's because all of these bad situations are is your energy coming back, is how what you're putting out is coming back. And so it's kind of, you know, I mean, there's people who are going out and being really nice and being treated really bad, but there's a dependency. This underlying thing is, you know, it's to push you. Did you really need to go there? What do you really need from them? Do you really need someone else to make your food? Are you really expecting that they're going to make you good food? Are you really expect, you know, because so much of it has to do with restaurants and coffee places and lunch places, food and things that people are trying to get from other people. And so I think it's all this reevaluation. You know, do I really need that? Like, it's all to get people to look, but most of the things, what people do is just whine and complain, and can you believe them? And, you know, but that's that victim mentality. My stomach's constantly growling. It just never stops, apparently. And I really want to make another cup of tea. I really don't want to go in their face all the goddamn ants again. And then, you know, smoke fucking... And she was already harassing me to go out, and now I have this horrible headache, which I feel is so sure. I had no headache whatsoever this morning. And then when I was videotaping, at some point towards the end, it was like it started hurting, and at this point, it was just, it's horrible. So it's got to be the gases and the toxins and shit. Fuck, I'm so burnt out on this. But it is weird how, you know, out here it can be just like that. But, you know, it's not that far away. There's people who are being drowned under this water, or being burned up in flames. It's insane. And all of that is, you know, all around us. All of that energy is going on. So even in a place where it seems like nothing is happening, that is affected by all of the other energies. But to me, it still just feels like, you know, being in a place where there's nothing going on and there's all this shit going on everywhere. It makes you feel like, man, what's about to happen here? Something's going to go down. Something's going to happen. So it kind of keeps you on edge. And then you have all these people who talk about Bible prophecy and keep showing, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is Bible prophecy, Bible prophecy. I swear to God, I think that they put the Bible out with the prophecy that they knew what they were going to do or something. They knew what was going to happen. Like there's something more to it. And yeah, there's always going to be prophecy. These things were going to happen. But it's just, there's an influence happening. And then it creates a lot of fear and this darker energy, which it blows my mind, because you would think that all of those people, all of these Christians and stuff that follow the Bible, that follow prophecy, that they would all be super excited to get over there, to get up in heaven and get back up in there with Jesus and whatnot. And why would they be fearful? Like, you know, but to me, that just really shows me that there's a lot of things that people don't feel in their heart. Like, they just go through the movements. They just claim a title, claim a diagnosis, but they don't really believe it in their hearts. And that is where I think people have got to come into alignment with, what do you believe in your heart? What is it, your real experience in your heart? How do you feel in your heart? Does it match? Does it match how you lived? Does it match what you go out and say? You know, there's all these opportunities to put the pieces together for yourself, to formulate yourself, to understand yourself, to look at yourself, to see your true part of yourself. So that is, you know, all of this time that you can use, but you got to look at that other side of the coin all the time. It's like you got to look, always try and get more perspective. And when you're so indoctrinated and programmed to always see the dark, then, you know, it's a challenge. You have to put more effort in to seeing the light. You have to, that is why it's important to have time to yourself, time to reflect, time to go deeper, time to think about things in a more deeper way. And it's so important to communicate with your inner self through all of the different things. That it gives you so much more perspective, and you can't go against your inner self. It's strange to me how people have like overridden their inner self, but that they can't. It's like you can get to your inner self. You can get to that side of yourself. There's a lot you have to battle through to get there. But just remember, it is like you're playing a grown-up, and you're setting the rules of what you think a grown-up should be, who you think a grown-up should act or behave or any of that stuff. You're coming up with that, and you're setting the rules for other people. So just kind of go backwards on that. Dismantle those ideas. Take them down. Start thinking about, like, you know, if I'm pretending to be a child, what do I really want? Like, I love this. The other day I saw this video. It's just a guy just sitting there, and it just says these words in front of him. And he said, when I was a child, I'm pretty sure I didn't want to be an overweight alcoholic. I can't remember all the stuff that it said, but it was really funny. Because it was like most people are not living that idea of what they thought when they were a little kid. They took the idea and went, it took them over, you know. And so it is more about, what is it you really wanted to be as a child? Who do you really want to be? You know, if you're not pretending to be something for somebody, pretending to be something you're not, who are you? And how do you figure it out? How do you figure out who you are? How do you get to the core of who you are? You got to spend some time looking. You got to spend some time in exploration and discovery. You got to offer yourself some stuff. Get out there and It makes some advancements, get to know some different people, learn some different things that you don't know anything about, push yourself in different ways to see what you're made of. Like there's all different ways to go out and explore yourself and figure yourself out. And it is an important part of your development. It's much more important than just trying to please others and be what you think other people want you to be. It's important to figure out what you want to be. Who is it you want to be out in the world? And there may be people who don't like you. There may be people who think you're weird and stupid and all of those things. Who cares? That's their perspective. We don't probably see eye to eye. There's probably no reason why we would need to spend time together. We don't see anything the same, so it doesn't matter how they see me. It doesn't matter if they see me. Just like what I was talking about, like with the dog. If there's people who are out there who think like, I don't control my dog enough, well, I look at you probably as somebody who is very domineering and controlling and probably abusive towards animals. We all have our perspectives. So why would I change my perspective to please somebody else? Well, I got to be mean to my dog so that they don't think I am a weak person. I'm going to stick with my perspective and think if you think I should be more aggressive to my dog, I would think you kind of linger towards aggression and abuse. And I'm not going to, I'm not comfortable with being that kind of person. So I'm not going to go and please you. So it is always to try and really think about, who are you? Who are you trying to please? Who are you trying to become? Why do you feel like you need to change yourself to be like other people, to please them? Like, do you look at them and think like, oh, they're the greatest, I'm going to be just like them? Or do you feel pressure? Like, if I'm not like them, I'm not going to be accepted. Why do you want to be accepted by people you're not like? Like, you have people that you're like out there. There's people who are like you out there. But if you are spending all your time with people you're not like, trying to please them, then how are you going to find the people who are like you? It's like you're wasting your time. And you're just going on a hamster wheel. What's the point of it? And if there's a point, and there's something you're in there growing, there's something that you're in there learning, and, it's probably that you're wasting your time. So anyways, now I've been talking, and now I've got this Billie Jean, all of that. I didn't even read the whole thing. So as soon as I start reading and seeing like somebody's just negative overall thing, it just kind of blurs out. It just kind of becomes like, oh, I don't want to hear a bunch of negative stuff. I don't want to hear ugly perspectives and stuff. Like, that is an energy that I don't, if that's how you perceive me, then I just think, that's, I don't know, like I already said earlier. But anyways, now, now I keep thinking, am I just repeating myself? Am I just saying the same thing? So I just got to go purge that energy out and let it go. And, the people who want to hear what I have to say will come in and say, and if they're annoyed by me and they keep listening, then that's up to them. And the people who can overlook things and are listening to an overall message and don't give a crap about my weird little deliverance or how I behave or what I think or whatever, then, those are more of my people. I believe my people are more of an accepting bunch. And so, anyways, but everybody, everybody's got their people out there. If you're, whoever you are, you got your people out there. But I do think that there is, in all of this group, there is people who are more centered on their spiritual growth than everybody else. Like, not everybody's going to be as focused on the spiritual growth, but it was going to be an overall caring, an overall spiritual way of coming at life. But not everybody's going to go deep into it. That's going to be on a bunch of different levels. So, I just think that people who are out there listening to people like me are probably, there's a lot of people who are probably a lot more intrigued by spirituality and the development of self and how to improve their lives and stuff. So anyways, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll just be gassed out today. Maybe this will be my last day here in this game. I don't know. I doubt it. I think it's just going to go on and on. I don't know for how long. But anyways, for however long it goes, we just got to keep going. And just keep on remembering that there is this light at the end of the tunnel. There is, and it's happening around us. There's the BRICS nation should give everybody a great hope of like, oh, this is real. Like all these places are really going on the gold standard. They're really changing. They're really, people are getting things, and, you know, things are changing. And so, but there is, you know, a big part of the show still going on. So, anyways, it's going to go until it stops. Like, I don't know. I hope that this weekend, I just keep on feeling like as soon as the bank thing crashes, then everything that they're trying to hold back, this big control over us, is going to kind of crash with it. So I keep feeling like once that goes, you know, there's just so much. It just keeps going and going. So, you know, if you're feeling beat down and stuff, just take time to yourself and rest, and just know, you know, we just got to keep going and going until it's over. And the big things that you can do for yourself is work on you. What is the energy? What is your overall thing you're putting out into the world? And because the working on you. Oh, and, you know, the whatever's going on in your area, and being aware, and, you know, participating, being out, you know, helping people. If you're in a place where there's a lot of tragedy, you know, and you can go and help or whatever. These are you showing you, you know, and if there's a lot of stuff going on, some of the things you don't want to just sit back and be a voyeur. Some of the things you want to get out there and play a part, you know, show the world what you're made of. And especially in a time where there's so much turmoil and fear, where a lot of the things happening to people is very scary to them. They have no idea. And sometimes just going and, you know, talking to people, taking them some blankets or something, and showing them some love, giving them some hope. But when you go and you do those things, any interaction, the energy you put out, there's an underlying energy you put out. So set your intention before you go and do it, that you're going to be just sending out love the whole time. You're just dropping fairy dust of love. And so people can learn to love themselves and raise the bar for what they'll put up with in this world. And, you know, we're just in a world of low standards where people want a lot, but don't want a lot from themselves. So they want a lot, but they don't feel like they deserve a lot. Like there's just something way out of balance, but everything is going to rebalance itself. So it's going into a balance. So just watch in your life how things are restructuring and rebalance and trying to find their place. And just keep on remembering, whatever you're losing, whatever's being taken from you is all going to be replaced. It's not anything that you need to, you know, worry about. Like there's a lot of people that think, oh my God, they've worked so long and they got a house and now they've lost their house. But you're going to get another house. They're going to be giving away so much shit. Like there's going to be houses all because of this. It is like a reparations. There's tons and tons of money that has to go back into communities, back into civilization. And so that is one big way they're going to start putting it in, is so you can get a house, you can get land, you can get a business, you can get things that you want to do, things that you want to put out into the world. So anyways, just sitting and just focusing, and don't just get out of a victim mentality. That's a big thing. Just move through your process. Don't get stuck in fear, and don't get stuck in being a victim. Just move through the process of pain and releasing and letting go of things. Because as long as you're holding on to things that were there, there's no room for new things to come. As long as you're in a place of pain and suffering and holding on, there's, you know, you're imprisoning yourself. You've closed yourself in to an energetic box of pain, but you have to release yourself. And so it's just a part of the process. So anyways, I just keep talking, and I've got a horrible headache. And so anyways, I'll talk to you later.